I had no other option than to put my hands above my head and say, tranquilo, hombres, por favor, calm down.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you?
All right. Yeah, I'm
It's
fine,
been a
yeah.
while, mate. It's been a while.
Yeah, we've had a few weeks off, haven't we?
We had,
Some late night finishes
yeah,
down at McDonald's.
just not getting our shit together.
We always plan to do it, but then we go out on Saturday night. But the last two times we went out on Saturday night, we came home at lunchtime.
Yeah. We went through a phase of where we went to McDonald's and like got a breakfast and like just sat there trying to fix the problems of the world over a Mac coffee and some Mac muffins.
And big up to Alexander, our Serbian mate, who
Who must think we're a weirdo.
every time we were out, he'd walk past, but he was out for getting breakfast.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, "Oh, you guys are up early." And we're like, "Well, not really, not exactly up early. We haven't been home yet." And then he'd move on, wouldn't he?
Fair play to him. He didn't judge anyway, that's for sure. He laughed at us the last time, alright, but fair play to him.
Anyway, welcome. And
So this is episode 24, and I just think we should just quickly mention it just as a kind of a timestamp. As we're recording this, the world is, well, not the world, but there's a conflict starting. As started, yeah, they're a week in now, Russia and the Ukraine thing. Just to say, like, it's terrible. We hope it fucking ends very quickly, and, you know.
Yeah, views on it aside, it's just horrible to see people dying in it.
Exactly. But again, just like the COVID thing, if you were tuning in to take our take on the war, it's probably not going to happen, to be honest with you. We might mention it and stuff like that, but I think there's plenty of people talking about it and a lot of propaganda going on, so we don't want to get involved with that shit, to be honest.
I just love the fact is if you're tuning in, all three of you.
Yeah, all five of you. So, yeah.
All right, let's move
I'm
on.
delighted that we're back here doing this.
Me too.
So,
I am too. Jason's got a beer. I've got a highball. I feel like we're back where we belong on a Sunday afternoon.
Exactly. Now, the only other one thing that we will say is that I'm not saying that the format of the podcast is going to change, but we have a line of people now that want to be interviewed, right?
Yeah.
So it might change from me and Finn doing the Room 101 and stuff like that we'll have a guest on. We have like literally probably 10 people lined up. Yeah.
Okay.
And all beautifully, they're all located in Tianjin as well.
We hope it will be interesting because I think we felt like we should take advantage of the situation we're in, whereas we think it's quite normal, but then we realised people in England, well, I guess, obviously there's other countries in England, but people don't have the same access and friend circle that we do when you live when you're an expat.
I also think we're in a unique situation because China is still closed off due to COVID and stuff. We are kind of living in a bit of a bubble. So I think it would be cool that how different people from different walks of life are, how that bubble is for them. Like I know for me, it's kind of hasn't really changed that much. But like it's in the back of my mind knowing that if something happened to my family in Ireland, it would want to be really, really serious because, if you leave China, getting back is a very, very hard thing. So
Big decision.
Yeah, exactly.
And it can be done, but it's we know someone who's been to and fro from England, and it's not easy, is it?
No, it's not. Definitely not.
Anyway, so that's what we're going to do, hopefully, very soon. So, all right, well, we'll shift on. We're going to do Room 101 first?
Yes. So this one is basically what we mentioned it before with your brother on Will, that when he asked me, is there anything that annoys you about Finn? It was about the messaging thing.
Right.
But again, no, I just want to make clear.
Oh, we're going to bring this out into the open.
Not really, to be honest with you. It's completely, it's the same, it's on a similar vein, but it's not. Because what I realised was, if I want to put that into Room 101, it means I'm putting one of my best mates and me missus into Room 101, which I definitely don't want to do. But what I've noticed, and I think it's becoming more and more, what I want to put into Room 101 is somebody that sends you a message and you send a reply to them and that's it, nothing.
I'm already feeling resistant to this. Because
That's
I
fine,
have
but
a different view of text messages.
No, but this is before what I was. So just if you didn't hear what happened before, Will asked, Finn's brother asked me what would I put into room 101, or no, what's my gripe against Finn?
Yeah.
And one of the things was, and my wife is guilty of this as well, is they'll engage you into a text message conversation and not answer for hours, right? Which to me now is fine, but the people I'm trying to put in now is that they send you a message, you reply to them, and there's nothing. You never get a reply back. And that is happening to me more and more. Now, I thought, oh, maybe it's me, maybe people think I'm a dickhead or whatever else, but then you meet them in the pub and they're all, nicey nice, and then there are also people that it's happened to me now 4 or 5 times where somebody sent one person, won't mention their name or whatever, but pulled out of something that we're doing recently, and they pulled out because of health reasons or whatever else, and I sent him a message back to say, oh, sorry to hear that, don't worry about it, I'll handle it or whatever else, and nothing, radio silence. Another guy that I know for many, many years sent me a message how I'm doing, asked me how I am, blah, blah, blah. I replied to them.
Okay, that's weird.
And then nothing like
That's weird. The first guy, I'm not going to take sides, but...
Yeah, you don't.
But I'm just saying, the first guy, what you just said, to me, it's not a problem. But it's not a problem for me, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
However, if you're saying some guy who didn't speak to you for years sent you a message, you're like, all right, mate, how you doing? And you were like, yeah, and then nothing. That is weird.
And
that's weird.
And it seems to be happening more where you like, or I've been in situations where I've sent somebody a message to ask him like, are you going to turn up for blah, blah, blah? No response whatsoever. And then they turn up. Right? I know you might go, oh, what's your fucking problem with that? But like, for me...
No, that's weird too.
When I enter I'm old school to a degree as well. So I think even a conversation, like for me, I would translate this as, so I'm sitting at a bar with a guy, I ask him a question and he just does not even respond. He just sits there in complete silence. That's how I feel about it. It's like, and the other thing, then people will be like, oh, maybe he didn't feel like answering or blah, blah, blah. But then, or maybe he doesn't like you or whatever else. But then why did he give me his WeChat or, I just think I don't mind the late responses. No, I've kind of got over that because obviously, like if I send a message to somebody and they don't respond for 6 hours, obviously they're at work or they have a reason for not doing it or whatever else, that's fine. But if you send me a message and I send you one back immediately and then there's nothing at all ever, for me that's just it's just rude, like.
Well, can I jump in?
Yeah, of course.
I think I have a very different view of text messages to you. And I'm going to disagree with you slightly. You said, on one point you said you're old school, so you want an answer. But I think you're the opposite. I think you...
No, but I'm an old school person trying to adapt to modern society. Like,
but that's my point is, I think, I would say maybe I'm more old school.
No, you're older school than me, for sure. Right?
Older school. I know, I'm older school. Because I think... you said you're old school, so when you ask a question, you want an answer. Of course, that's true. But I think if you're actually old school, you ask a question on a message, right? You get the answer. That's over.
No, and I agree with that 100%.
It's over.
100%.
I think you're more new school because you demand a certain amount of closure on a text message scenario.
But the way I look at it,
like young people do.
But I don't think if you take away text messages and blah blah blah, if you just put two people in a room and somebody says, "How are you?" they reply, "I'm fine, thank you. How are you?" "Yeah, I'm not too bad." And then let's say they go, "Oh, what did you do today?" And that person just doesn't say anything at all and basically behave. In my eyes, that's how it feels. It's like
just blanking you.
Yeah, it's just like what happened? Like, has his brain had a malfunction and like he just stopped, or did he fall into a fucking?
Has he slipped in the shower?
Yeah. No, but if you wouldn't do that to somebody if you were having a conversation with them. So like for me, there's a beginning of a conversation, the content of the conversation, and a kind of a sign off, like, all right, talk to you later or whatever else. But if it's like, hi, sorry, I can't make it to the swimming pool, I broke my leg or something, and literally I text them back like 15 seconds later and go, oh shit, sorry to hear that, I hope you're alright. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And then nothing. I can't handle that. Now maybe it's a me thing. Like
But if that was me, I'd think, okay, there's nothing I can do for him. It's fine.
okay. No, but I just think, can you not even just send a thumbs up or something? Like it takes no effort. It's just like closing I'm not saying that I want to be like, oh, thank you for asking me, or I just want like because I think it is like having, like, if you put yourself again, if you were in that room with somebody and they said to you, and you said to them, how are you, blah, 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 and the person said to you, if there's anything I can do for you, let me know.
And you just looked at the floor.
And you just stare blankly into their face, like.
But I think the operative phrase here is, if you were in a room together.
No, but I don't see. That's maybe where I differ.
For me, it's not the same. A text message conversation is not the same. It's totally,
and maybe that is the problem with the whole like digital world that we live in now. But I look at having a conversation on a text message the same as having a conversation with somebody face to face.
I think that's the difference. I don't. I really don't.
And I think that's why we do have a big problem in society, where you're basically, because it's a text message, you're dehumanizing the person or whatever. But I do think, like I said, it's like even a standard story in a book has a beginning, a middle part, and an end. I think that last, it can be just a thumbs up or a smiley face. It doesn't have to, but just that little closure thing to go, okay, conversation over. Now, maybe I'm being a bit needy or whatever, but I just think
it's interesting to talk about different people's views, because I'm quite interested in the phenomena of text messages. And I do realize that, because I used to get annoyed with people when they didn't see things the same as me, you know, and I do realize that people see, for people now, text messages are, you're right, the same as like having a conversation in a room together. So it's almost like they should follow the same rules as a conversation if you're in the same room as someone. I still really don't see it like that. And I know I'm not just being like facetious, because if I send a message and someone doesn't answer me, I honestly don't give a fuck.
Okay. No, but then you're in a small way, you're kind of contradicting yourself, because if you are old school and you're used to the, let's say, before text messaging, that you had a beginning, end, and thing, you would think that you would have carried that across to the text messages.
Well, I'll respond to that, because I think,
I'm not having a go.
I'm very, and I said it really interests me because I know I have such a different. So sometimes you have got annoyed with me in the past for not.
I wouldn't say annoyed.
Well, you know what I'm saying, but we've had differences of opinion about text messages. And it's not just you, it's also other people. I know, so I do understand. I'm starting to realise that not everybody sees things the same as me. And that does take me a while sometimes, because I often just think, how can anyone not see this the same way as I do? But yeah, this is what I think. This is why I think I'm old school, because this is how social interactions went for me. It went from, two people face to face in a room to a telephone conversation, which is almost exactly the same. I'm not going to just not answer a question if I'm on a telephone conversation.
I was going to bring that up.
Wait, I'm finished. Because you got two people in a room, you got a telephone conversation, which are basically the same, but already we're being distanced a little bit. So you can actually, when you're in a room, a face-to-face conversation in a room, you have to think about your facial expressions. If you're on a telephone conversation with someone,
it's voice,
and you can kind of make I didn't like that, but you can hide it. But you can hide a little bit, but I think the next thing was emails. And I think me personally, I think the reason I still see a text message as a glorified email. I don't think I've ever moved on from that.
Okay.
So an email, if you replied 3 days later, people will be like,
no, I just want to make clear, I'm not talking about the late replies. I'm talking about the no replies. That's what I'm talking about. Like, basically, I've had 3 or 4 situations in the last month that it's basically, and I disagree with you in one sense. I think email is an evolution of letters. I think the text messages is an evolution of phone calls. I think they're 2 different things.
What if you sent an email to say, like, I need you to... Well, what if you sent an email and asked a question and there was no reply, but the person did what you said?
I asked, yeah.
It'd be all right, wouldn't it?
I think that's all right. I don't think when I
That's
send
how I feel a little bit about text messages. I think like if
I think you're probably more people than me that thinks that it just because it's a text message.
I'm not sure about that, but I do understand now that I'm not quite with it on everyone's. I do understand. I am starting to understand what a text message means to someone. I just think I'm a little bit behind other people.
I just think that, like, for example, if we take it back one step to phone calls, if we were on a phone call and I asked you a question and you just hung up the phone, that's how I feel if you don't. I'm not saying about a late response, no, that's a different story. That just happens. Life gets in the way and you don't have time to respond. It's not like he picked up the phone and basically what I'm saying is if somebody sends me a text message and at that time I'm busy, I won't respond to that text message until later, and that's fine. Or else I might go, oh, I'm busy now, I'll talk to you later, or something like that. What my big gripe is, like, how have we come to the stage where somebody sends you you've sent them and I'm also I don't even mind so much if I'm the one sent the message and I don't get a response. That's fine. Maybe they don't want to talk to me or whatever else. But if that person has sent me a message and I sent them something back, there should be some closure to that. Especially if it's like, 30 seconds after that person sent it. Just nothing at all to me is like hanging up the phone by going, how are you? Clink.
Well, all I'm saying
that's how it feels like to me.
I think, yeah. And what I'm saying is I can totally empathize with how you feel. I can see, but I'm definitely not there. Because I feel,
no, but again,
I feel like if let's say I send you a text message and it's like I know what you're saying. I think one of your big gripes is if someone actually initiates a conversation. Yeah. And then you said something and I just didn't say anything back, for example.
Just to make clear again, I'm not talking about like you respond 2 hours later or 5 hours later or the next day. For me, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's the not responding at all thing.
However, what I would say was...
I sent a person... Like, basically, it's happened literally 5 times in the last 2 weeks. These are people that I know don't hate me. So it's not like, oh, fuck this guy, I don't want to answer him. And then I sent them, are you turning up for this or not? And then there's no response. And then they turn up and act as if... And then they're my best friend and we're drinking and we're having a laugh and whatever. I just I can't get it into my head why you can't find that millisecond to go, yeah, I'll be there or I'll talk to you later or whatever else.
Yeah, see, I don't understand that. That wouldn't bother me at all.
But I'm talking about no response at all.
It still wouldn't bother me.
Okay.
If the guy turned up, I'd be like, all right. You see? Right. I think I see a text message let's say, for example, I send you sort of an offhand comment like we often talk about how we hate the shared bikes development.
Yeah.
So let's say I said something like, oh, for fuck's sake, I just couldn't park a shared bike in a place I wanted to park it, blah, blah, blah. And you sent a message back going, oh, yeah, I know, I saw this thing. I would just see that as that's a 2-comment thing.
Okay.
But I know you would probably be, if I'm thinking right, would be expecting some kind of response.
No, but
response.
That I can...
I'd be like...
That's
done.
I'm maybe not saying...
I do understand what you mean. I just think there's a lot of grey area.
If you ask the question and I answer the question, that's also a close for me. But if there's another question within that question and then there's nothing, do you know what I mean? It's like, so let's say you said to me,
do you let me ask you a question. Do you like sending text messages? Do you enjoy yourself?
I prefer sending text messages than a phone call.
See, to me,
100%.
To me, it's definitely not my favourite way of communicating.
No, but because I think, and this is the beauty, and this is where I think people are taking advantage of it. I think the beauty about text messages is you don't have to respond right away. You can go away and have a little think about it. Or if you're busy, you just fucking leave it in your inbox or whatever you want to call it.
They're definitely convenient.
And also the other thing is I'm not a very, I'm chatty with people that I like, but people that I don't really, class as my, inner circle or whatever you want to call it. If I want to put them on hold, you can easily put them on hold with a text message. And I don't really have a problem with that at all. But it's what I have a problem with is if you ask, I think if you want to go down the road of I don't want to have any further conversation about this, maybe send an email or something like that and go, look, this is the way it is and blah, blah, blah. Because I see emails like letters. You can respond to them if you want. I'm a bit fluffy about that. Unless somebody is like demanding a response on something you've done or something like that, then of course you need to respond. But I think a text message is just an extension of
Well, you're right.
a conversation.
What you're saying is right. It's definitely more personal because it's more instantaneous.
Yeah, and it's like, because, yeah, exactly. Because an email, you have to, when you send an email, you automatically already know we could be in different time zones. The person could be working. The person could be asleep. You know that you're not expecting an instant reply from an email. But with a text message, I think that's just an extension of a phone call where you're kind of like waiting for the person to either say it. Now, again, the beauty about text messages, you can like not answer or wait a little bit. But I think that like not answering at all is just, it doesn't compute to me. Like,
well, I think what I'd say about whatever my opinion is, but I would say I can totally understand how you think. I just see it as totally differently. Like I just feel like if you're sitting in a room with me now and we're having and you're having a conversation, I wouldn't just suddenly
not answer,
lie down on the sofa and go, this conversation's over.
Yeah.
Because I like whatever I'm doing at that moment physically. I don't think I see text messages as quite as important as you do. That's my opinion. So if whatever I'm doing, like you'll notice like if I'm like we're talking now, how many times have I looked at my phone?
Never. But you rarely look at your phone.
But that's what I'm saying, because I'm fully committed and engaged to what's going on right here in front of me. Like when maybe you've sent me a message. And maybe I've been answering you. We've been going back and two. And then I'll arrive at Leonard's.
No, I'm
just saying, so then I'll put my phone down on the table and now I'm engaged in what's going on here in front of me. You know? And I just feel like I'm either in the mood or I'm not. And it doesn't mean anything. There's no... Like, I understand it looks like we were in the middle of a to and fro, and then suddenly I stopped.
No, but that's not what I'm
And the person at the other side is thinking, like, what the fuck? We were just in a conversation. But for me, it's just like, emojis were like flying around all over the fucking place, you know? And I always used to say to this American girl I live with, I used to say, like, I refused to use emojis. Like, I thought it was ridiculous. Like people giving a happy face and all this bullshit. I do use them now, and it's because I realize the fucking power they have.
Yeah,
it's basically a replacement of tone of voice.
Of course it is. And
I suddenly realized that people were not actually, they were not hearing sarcasm in my messages.
No, exactly.
They were reading them literally.
You need to send that like a
smirky
face.
I suddenly realized, and I started to realize that it was affecting me too. Like let's say if I cancelled a class, if the parent wrote back and said, "Oh, it's okay," smiley face, everything's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that.
But if the parent writes back and says, "Okay," no smiley face, I started to realize I was thinking.
But I think that makes my point almost stronger, that text messages are more than just like a text. We have the tools now. I want to go into that a little bit. I love the way Finn is starting to use emojis.
I use them now, don't I?
But it's fucking, sometimes you're just kind of going on. I think you picked the wrong one.
Yeah.
Why has he sent me a worm?
That's a ridiculous comment. Cricket bat aubergine.
But at least you're making, but that's not.
I'm trying, mate.
I think just by you saying that, you've realised that text messaging is.
Well, I think I've only started to realise since you were telling me like you know, your text message etiquette is not. You were finding it hard to. You were saying
my text message.
You were saying like sometimes I don't know what you're thinking, and I'm at home thinking this doesn't mean anything. I've got no problem with Jason. I'm just answering the message. But then I did start to realise that you're at home going, what's he thinking? I don't understand what he...
Not even what you're thinking, but it's like...
I'm just using me as an example.
Can I go about my day now? Because like for me, it literally text messaging...
We sound like an old married couple, don't we?
I know, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
But it's not just you. I have the same problem with my wife, who is like only a couple of years younger than me, but she didn't get into technology. She's kind of on the same vein as you. Basically, if you turn into an Asian girl, you basically have the same personality. Like, I mean, it's fucking.
Really?
No, it's very, very similar when it comes to technology. Like, I had to tell her before, we used to go around Shanghai paying bills like an old grandmother, like going to the gas place and go. And it was until one of my Chinese colleagues says, you can pay that all through WeChat, which is the very good app that we have here in China. And then I told Angel, and then now all of a sudden she's gone the opposite direction, which I can also see you a little bit. Like, you used to be a big advocate for cash and all of that stuff, but I can see you drifting off into the
That is just
electronic
purely forced.
Yeah.
There's no way around that.
No, but okay. So basically, what I want to say is that I think, and I think a lot of people would agree with me, that text messaging is kind of the same as having a conversation, even though you mightn't think it is. But I do think that a lot of people,
I know it is, but if I'm in the mood, it is. But if I'm not, it's not. No, but other people don't realise that. They
but then
they don't think, oh, he's just not in the mood.
No, but you have like not answered me in like a 6 or 7 hours or whatever, and I get that, right? But what I'm talking about is the people that do not reply at all. That just like, for me, that's the exact same as me calling up. Let's say me calling you up and going, "Hey, Finn, are you going to the darts later?" And you just hanging up the phone. That's how I feel. I can understand that. Not replying at all. Late is different. What I'm trying to put into Room 101 is basically people that do not respond to a text message.
All right.
Don't respond at all to a text message. Not even a text message. I think a text message is dead. I'm talking about like a WeChat or what's the one, the WhatsApp or whatever else. It's like, especially like, because you half the time you can see that these people are active online or whatever else, and you're like kind of going,
yeah, that's the bad.
What like, he literally just posted a picture of himself having a wank or whatever, and now he won't even reply to me asking him a relatively serious question.
Well, that brings up a whole other thing, because this thing I don't even know the fucking lingo, mate. This facility that tells you people are typing. I don't like
that either. No, I think that's a lot of bollocks as well, because I also do think, I can't prove this, but I know that if you're in a group chat and let's say you switch over to something else, so let's say you were in the group chat having a conversation.
That's what I always think.
No, but I do think, because I've noticed this, if you go over into a private conversation and you start typing in the private conversation, I think it's showing up in the group chat that you're typing.
But does it even say you're typing in a group chat?
Maybe not, but let's say it's the other way around. If you were having a private conversation but you jump into a group chat, I definitely,
because I've seen the private person you're typing.
Me and you have been having a conversation that we're having a private one, and you'll jump over to answer something in the group chat, but I can, for some reason, see you typing.
It's such a minefield.
That I agree with you. What business does it have showing that you're typing?
The other thing was, I think there's something on WhatsApp that says, or there's something on the Korean one, Kakao Talk, that says the Korean WhatsApp is called Kakao,
okay,
and the Japanese one is called Line.
Okay,
but the Korean one, get this, they'll tell you, if you send a message to someone, it will actually send you a symbol to say that person has read your message.
I don't like.
What the fuck is that about?
They used to have that in emails as well. I used to disable that. I think that's not. And again,
it's only your business if I've read it or not.
Exactly. And don't get me wrong. When I'm saying if somebody's, I don't want to know that somebody read my message and on purpose didn't answer. I'm just talking about.
Nobody wants to know that. There's no need for anyone to know that. It can only cause problems.
Absolutely,
that can only cause problems, can't it?
The only in the defense of emails where they have this, the person read it. I think that is important because emails can be used as legal documentation. So if you have this situation where you have sent like a warning to somebody to say like, look, if you don't pay this by this date, we're going to court. And if they turn around and didn't read it, they can plead like, oh, I never seen that email. But whereas if they read it and then chose to ignore it, it's a different story. But we should not be bringing that technology into private conversations.
I think it's all bullshit, because if that happened, you could just say, oh, I've got a cat and he must have fucking lent on the keyboard.
Yeah, exactly. But it's
Jason,
also, this is just basically what I'm saying is, if two people were in a room or on a phone call together and you asked them a question and then you just hung up or you basically just sat there in silence, I think that's the same as somebody not responding at all to a message. Especially, and I'm not talking about a message that I sent to somebody, because maybe they just looked at the message and I don't like this guy, I'm not going to answer him. That's fine. But if they've sent you a message and then you've replied to that message and then you get nothing at all, I think that's what I'm trying to put into Room 101.
Fair enough. Well, listen, I need the toilet. So can we decide?
It's up to you.
No, I'm not putting in Room
For
101.
fuck's sake.
I'm not, because I can't. I'd be putting...
You know my response to this will be not answering any of your messages.
I can't be putting my whole way of life into Room 101. I like the fact
but see, you're putting it...
I know what you're saying.
You've never done this.
I know what you're saying, but I still think it's okay that you should be able to do that if you want.
Okay.
I honestly do.
You don't think it's like the same as like hanging up a phone on somebody without answering their question or saying goodbye or anything?
I definitely don't think it's the same.
Okay.
I don't think it's the same. It's a written word.
All right. I don't agree, but it is what it is.
I'm going to have to say no.
Okay.
Is this the first one?
Second.
Did I... It's always me. It's okay.
No, but I actually had it.
I'm not doing it.
I did this for a reason, because I do think sometimes we should, like, I kind of knew that this is the direction this conversation would go. Out of going forward in the future, when Finn asks me a question in the pub, I'm just going to stare at him and just not answer him. And I'm going to wait for the time where he really needs the answer. I'm just going to stare at him.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway. Hey, look, when you put one of these up, it could get blown away.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
I'm not bitter about it. No. I just felt I think I had one that I knew that you were going to agree with me, but I think that's a bit shit if you just put something in that. But fair enough. If you don't...
I'm being honest. Honestly, I really do. It wouldn't... Even if I asked a question and someone didn't answer...
Ever.
Yeah, I would just feel like, all right, the answer's no or whatever. Let's go for a piss. Yeah. Not together. All right, Room 101's done.
Okay,
it's done.
All right, Q&A. This week is Finn's turn to ask the questions.
Yep, as always, just to remind you, obviously I send Jason a couple of questions beforehand to have a little think about. Hopefully they're interesting. They're always just questions I kind of...
Just a spark conversation, really.
Yeah,
isn't it?
some things I kind of think about myself, or maybe I've had a thought and think, oh, I wonder. I'll ask Jason if he's got something to say on that matter. You know. Yeah.
I'm not going to answer him though, just to see how he feels.
I did enjoy that one about the zombie apocalypse, because I think we looked at it a completely different way to each other, didn't we? You were thinking long term, and I was thinking, right, how do I get lunch?
And we're heading into a world where that could be a fucking it could be an option that we have to do this.
Yeah, it's true. Okay, well, I'm going to start, because there's one I'm not sure about what I would say, but I'm going to start. I'm going to leave that one till last. Okay. So the first one, let's go for a short one. What is your favourite computer game of all time?
Okay,
that's my first question to you.
That one is basically Ghouls and Ghosts on the Sega Master System.
That's an interesting answer, because I was thinking about that game the other day. It's not mine.
Have you played it?
Of course, yeah.
No, there is a massive difference between...
It's got the kind of a creepy organ music.
Yeah. But I don't know what you played it on now, but there's a Mega Drive version which was more fancy than I had a Sega Master System.
I think I played both.
And the Master System one, I actually downloaded it recently and started playing it on the Wii, and it's still as good as the day I fucking bought it.
Is it a guy in a suit of armour?
Yeah, and then you can upgrade your armour, but the thing about it is, it's what I realised, old school games are so fucking hard compared to modern games, like, because you were given 3 lives, because the system didn't have the capabilities of saving the game or anything. So when you died, you were fucking dead.
Yeah.
Whereas when we went to the PlayStation and stuff, you could save your progress. There's no such thing as saving your progress.
No.
But this one, I think...
Because I remember like a 1-up was an amazing
Oh my
thing.
God. That was like giving $1 million, like.
It's like, I just got another life. Fuck me.
Yeah.
Exactly. I know. You're
But this
right.
one, like, basically, it's for people that don't know, it was it was like in a weird kind of a planet. Yet there was like a whole lot of weird kind of things that but you were like an old medieval dude. You started off naked, well, in underpants.
That's right. Yeah.
And then you would get like some armor, but you could upgrade your armor by collecting and killing different
Would like
things.
dead bodies come out the ground?
Yeah. Zombies or skeletons and stuff like that. But why it's so close to my heart was because this is a conversation we were
And you
having.
had a lance.
Yeah, you had different weapons and all that kind of stuff. But and then you could even like get something where you could shoot like a spear at people and stuff like that. But why I love it so much is because when me and my brother, we had to save up to buy the Master System because my parents were cool that way. That it was like, if you wanted something, yeah, you can have it, but you have to save up for it and buy it. But games were freaking expensive back then. Like, it was like, so the system was probably, I don't know, let's say it was £200 or whatever back in the day.
Really? Is that expensive?
I'm not sure, but it was like, I think they gave
I
us
remember it was a
that,
lot.
but
It
if we
seemed
wanted,
like a lot, didn't it?
if we wanted games, we had to save up for the games, basically. So we ended up, so on the Master System 2, which we had, there was an inbuilt game called Alex the Kid, which also is up there in my top 10 games.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
And then we saved up and we went to one shop because unfortunately, due to how technology moves on so fast, by the time we had saved up for it, the Mega Drive had come out. So Master System games were rare, you know what I mean? So even buying them was like, you didn't have much choice when you went to HMV or whatever where we bought the games. But we bought Ghouls and Ghosts not even knowing what this game was going to be, just looked at the box and went, it's either that or the Olympics from 7 years ago.
The one
or
where
whatever.
you with your fingers.
But we bought it and man did we play the absolute death out of that game. And the fucking good thing is I don't think any of us have yet to finish it. Like.
Yeah.
And the thing is then my mate, he ended up getting a Mega Drive and bought Ghouls and Ghosts on that as well. But it's way too hard. It's ridiculous. But this one, I played it recently, I can still get to the point of where I was a kid and then I always die. Even I had like 4 lives collected or whatever else and I always died.
But those old games, it was always about, when you got to those later levels, it was always about a certain pattern.
Yeah.
And you had to play it enough time. You had to play it enough times to learn that pattern. There wasn't like 6 ways to do it.
No.
You either knew that pattern or you fucking didn't.
Even because at one stage on one of the levels,
It's like duck, fire, duck, move back, move forward, move back, fire, duck, jump. And if you didn't know that exact pattern, you were fucked.
Or you're running across a platform and certain parts of it collapse and you fall down into a pit or whatever else.
Yeah.
You just have to learn where they are because there's no other way. You're not getting past it by going around it, or it was either figure it out or you're dead.
Yeah.
To this day, me, my brother, David Fleming, all my friends, we never fucking finished it. And I think, and the other thing is because it was one of the only games we had at the time, it just has a very, very deep place in my heart.
Well, you can probably find a video on YouTube that tells you how to complete it.
I wouldn't do that. I will say for Alex the Kid, I do cheat because at the end of Alex the Kid, each like major level, you have to play a game of scissors, paper, rock. But obviously it's like, scissors, paper. Yeah, it's programmed. I feel that if you've gone through the trouble, losing the level to a game of scissors, paper, rock is a bit shit. So I do cheat on finding out what that is, but I won't cheat on like how you finish the game or something like that because I think that kind of defeats the purpose.
I think that is what I love about all those old computer games. Everything was about knowing what they'd programmed it to be. So it was a different kind of achievement to finish a computer game. Like I remember even in like a Super Mario World.
Yeah, I was just going to bring that up.
Even in Super Mario World, do you remember when you could go into those sort of mushroom huts?
Yeah.
And then you had like 3 playing cards.
Yeah.
And you had to push 1, 2, 3 and turn them over. And you realised if you did it in exactly the right rhythm, you'd get 3 ace of spades and you get a one. But you had to learn that shit.
Yeah.
I mean,
and they were they had 2 things in computer games back then because the guys developing the computer games obviously don't want to play each level over and over again. So they had those cheats, and those cheats used to be kind of divulged maybe 7 or 8 months after the game came out, because they want people to progress, because they know they're going to release part 2 or whatever.
I always
else.
thought that was amazing. They had those cheats so they could go in and keep fixing bugs and stuff like this.
Or like they already know.
Then it became like, oh, we can release them in a magazine.
Exactly.
As like something to keep the interest going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Super Mario is a perfect example. In level 2 of Super Mario, when you're in the underground, I think it's in the underground part, if you jump beyond, if you go up on a platform and jump like kind of off screen, you end up walking down into this where there's 3 tunnels where you can pick level 2, level 3, level 4. That was literally there.
So they could go forward without fucking about. Yeah.
Nobody would, like, that would never have come out unless somebody accidentally had jumped up there and found it. But of course they release it eventually, because they're going to release Super Mario 2.
Well, it's like 2 birds with 1 stone. Not only does it allow you to do your job in a more effective way, it's also something later on that you can use, like you said, to keep... Stop using the lighter, we've got a candle.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
It's also something that you can use to, like you said, later on, keep interest in the game. Like
Exactly,
I remember
yeah.
in those... It was always my brother. It was always my brothers that liked the computer games, but they used to have those computer game magazines. I can't remember what they were called now, but yeah, every week it'd be like, oh, do you want to get? Actually, now I've started to think about something. What possible reason could you have for having massive head cheat on GoldenEye? That couldn't have been it. I think it developed and they were like, we need cheats now.
No, but I was going to say, there's 2 different things. There's cheats for the developers so that they can skip through levels, and there was Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Which was a thing that was just like, oh, wow. You know, so you can play the game normally, but now you're playing the game with a big, massive head.
Yeah.
And that was just an Easter egg to kind of make, oh, look, I found the Easter egg. This is fucking cool.
Sniper's Dream, they used to call it. It was
Shout
Sniper's
out
Dream.
to, what's his name?
Bob Morton.
Yeah, Bob Martin.
Yeah.
But so there was 2 different things. But I used to love that about computer games, that you buy the magazine. And also with the magazine, another great thing that you used to get was a demo. So you might get a demo for games.
Yeah, like the first levels.
Yeah. I love that. Like, it's like how, you know, we were so into that as well. Like, and then you'd go straight to the back page where it gave all the cheats for your game or whatever.
Yeah. I remember being, even though I wasn't that, I mean, I did like computer games, but like I grew up with 2 brothers, 2 younger brothers. So I always used to consider myself quite lucky, because I'd get my Christmas present knowing that one of those 2 was going to get the latest games console system. So it's almost like I didn't have to waste my Christmas present, because it was just going to, because it was going to be in the next bedroom.
Yeah.
And but they loved it. So they never saw it as like, oh, I'm being scummed out of a present. That's all they wanted, you know what I mean? But and I was like, I had some other things I wanted.
Strategically going,
Will's
Will's going to get this.
I had some other things I wanted, but I'm like, I don't need to get
Felix
a
is
Mega
getting
Drive,
this.
because I know there's going to be a Mega Drive in this room, and there's going to be, a fucking N64 in the other room, because my brothers are getting them. So and to be fair,
they should get a game for each.
Well, to be fair, they were much better than me. I used to go in and play the games, and in the end, used to just like chuck the controller across the room and go, fuck you, and just leave. And sometimes I'd want to play them at like there was another Pro Evo.
Oh yeah.
I always thought Pro Evo was better than FIFA, but it used to get to the point where I'd be like, Felix, do you want to get on Pro Evo? And they would be like, what's the point in playing you? You know what I mean? It's boring. They only want us to play each other. So I just had to sit there and watch. But, I used to love the old computer games. I always used to say to people, the minute a games controller got more than 4 buttons,
yeah, ridiculous.
I was done.
Yeah,
I was finished.
That's the other thing that I hate about like modern games, is like that there's so many buttons involved, and you can save your progress and blah blah blah. There's no challenge to it.
Well, I knew it wasn't really my main thing. I just I loved the 2-player option. I loved being able to play your brother and beat him. I loved Sega Rally. It was one of the best games ever. But it was always just about playing with other people. I was never one for just sitting on a fucking console and playing games by myself.
This is something that was mental as well, because like basically Angel, because she lived in China, when I was growing up with like Master Systems and what, they had like a fake version of the Nintendo, but that girl can play fucking Super Mario, man. And the thing is, you never forget. No. It's like riding a bike. It's like, okay, the first few, like, I was watching her when I downloaded Super Mario and Ghouls and Ghosts, but I never really played Super Mario that much because I had a Sega. I didn't have a Nintendo. But Angel had like a fake version of a Nintendo, so she knows how to play Super Mario.
What's the fake Nintendo called?
It was some Chinese some off-brand thing. You can still get them today, like it's mad. But she
Is it the same games?
Yeah, same games. Like Angel bought me for my birthday I think it was last year or something. It looks like a Game Boy, but it has like Sonic the Hedgehog, Ghouls and Ghosts. It has everything on it, right? The Chinese were always one step ahead of everybody. You know, obviously it's like they're stealing the technology or whatever. Who gives a shit, right? But anyway, when I watched her playing fucking Super Mario, I was just going, holy shit! Like she knew where all the fucking the mushroom was and the one-ups were, and like it was amazing. Even Danny was sitting there going, "How does Mammy know?" Because like I play Minecraft with my son, and my wife is completely oblivious to what we're talking about. But when it comes to Super Mario, she's the fucking queen of the household.
Well, I told you a similar story. I went back to England and I went to stay with my best mate, Susie, and she's got 3 kids and one of them's a little boy. And they've got a Super Nintendo. And as soon as I saw they had a Super Nintendo, Susie was like, I've got to go to work. Can you look after the kids for a bit? You know, I haven't got kids. So obviously, immediately I was terrified. Like, I've got to look after these 3 children. But once I saw they had a Super Nintendo, I was like, you want to play this? And he was like, yeah. So you can spend hours doing that.
Yeah.
You know? And you know, kids are always like, I want to go. But he watched me play Super Mario 3 and I was doing the same thing. I would like run forward, then I'd go back and I'd jump in midair and bang, there'd be a 1-up mushroom and I'd grab that. Then I'd fly up to a secret room and get loads of coins. He was like open mouthed, and I've never seen a kid not say like, oh, let me have a go. I would get to the end of it, like, do you want to play? And he'd be like, no, you do it.
Yeah.
He was just happy to watch, you know, this Mario 3 master, and I'm nowhere near a master. But he's just you're right. It's amazing how much you remember. It's amazing.
And like maybe actually it was during the height of COVID when we were all locked down the first time, like the proper lockdown. I had downloaded all this game and I started playing Sonic the Hedgehog, which was the Master System version, and Danny was like, I was giving Danny a go here and there, but then he realised like, I can't do it, I'm shit at it. And he watched me playing it, and I was gathering lives, and I actually got further than I ever did when I was a kid. And I had like 9 lives going into the end level boss, and Danny was just like glued to the screen. Yeah. As if it was reality.
Yeah, that's what
I ended up losing all 9 lives and not finishing it, but it was just amazing. It was
like I said, you know you've really hit on something when a little kid is saying, "No, you have my go. You have my go." A 6-year-old kid is saying, "You have my go." I mean, it was weird because
kids are selfish.
At that time, I was like 39 years old, and I felt proud. I felt quite proud. Like, because they're selfish. Kids are selfish.
100%. Like
normally, they're like grabbing the controller out your hand.
Oh, my turn. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was like, "Nah, I just want to watch you do this." He was like, sat back on the sofa, and I'm just going to enjoy this. Brilliant.
In a very, very close second place, though, I will say Lara Croft's Tomb Raider won on the PlayStation, but that's because I can't believe, I'm so lucky that I'm married to this woman. We used to literally, our weekend used to be her watching me play Lara Croft. We'd order a pizza, and then all of a sudden we realise it's fucking Monday morning. Do you know what I mean? And it was, and she'd never go, give me a go. She'd be just like, no. She'd like be getting involved, because
just
Lara
enjoying.
Croft is a bit of a puzzle. It's action plus puzzle. So she'd be solving the puzzles. I'd be doing the action thing, and it's just, we spent like a whole summer just playing this fucking game, and
fair enough.
It's mad.
Well, I think I'd say if I was, I wish I could choose something a little bit, a little bit arcane, or sort of a little bit something like, like a sort of underground cult thing or something.
I think Ghouls and Ghosts is pretty underground. I don't think.
No, that's what I'm saying. I wish I could choose something like that for my game, but if I'm being honest, without doubt, in my opinion, the best computer game ever made is Mario Kart.
It is a good game.
Without, I didn't even have to think twice.
Okay.
It's without a doubt the best game ever made. It has so, what I loved about it was, I think the first one ever was on the Super Nintendo, the SNES. That was the first one. It was the first one, trust me. and then you had
I think you're right.
and then you had the N64 one, and then the Wii
Yeah.
one. Whatever version they made,
The first one was the best one.
no, but whatever version they made, they never fucked it up. It always had the gameplay. They never messed up the gameplay. They'd have better graphics.
Yeah.
They'd have different.
I know what you mean,
They'd have
yeah.
different tracks, but they knew what made this game special,
Yeah.
and it was the gameplay and the controls and being able to skid round corners and the different attributes that all the characters and the cars had.
Yeah.
It's absolutely brilliant, and you know
What
it's brilliant because I played it when I was like 9 or whatever, and my 8-year-old nephew now
Still playing it.
loves it
Yeah.
as much as I ever did.
And Danny has played. Danny's only 7. He has played it on. We have what was the first handheld? Not the Tetris one, but the DS, Nintendo DS. We have one of them at home as well.
Every format it was ever on.
But the beauty
was
about
brilliant.
Mario Kart is anybody can like pick it up. You won't be good at it, but you can you can win a race or two here and there because it's not overly complicated. It's a great game. It's a great game.
They just it was such a perfectly designed game, you know, even up to the point where obviously, I mean, just a racing aspect of a game I always loved. Like I loved Sega Rally, which was a bit more realistic, like racing rally cars. But Mario Kart had so many more elements, like the weapons that you had that you could pick up, and they also made it so if you were in 8th place and you'd really fucked up, you'd get that bullet.
Really good, yeah. a game changer.
So you could, so instantly you were in 8th and you're like, oh, this is, and you could have just gone, oh, fuck this. But all of a sudden you were in 4th and you had a chance. And everything was so well designed in that game, and they never ever forgot.
And you literally
basics
didn't
that
know
made that
until
game
you
so
crossed that over that checkered flag.
Never.
That you because somebody would just drop one of those big bullets on you.
You
and it's game
never
over.
ever.
Yeah.
I mean, you were very lucky to be so far ahead that you had no problems. Like you could easily be fucked up by something. You know, it's an amazing game.
Worst weapon you could get, I would say, would be the banana skins. I used to always just drop them, get rid of them, get rid of them.
Yeah, but you know you can push forward and throw them.
Yeah, but it was still like you were waiting for like the Thunderbolt thing or whatever it was, or
yeah, but you only got that if you were in 8th.
Yeah, that's true. That's
what was so. They made it so they managed to keep any race like close as fuck. Even if you were like a lap behind after like the first 2 laps, by the end you'd be like pushing for 4th.
There's a big.
You know, it was amazing.
They should do that with Formula 1, like. They should do that with Formula 1.
Have weapons.
Yeah, they make it way more interesting. No, but like, basically...
Red tortoiseshell.
Just an oil slick. Just spread the oil slick onto the road.
Yeah. Oh, it was so good, that game. But the only other game I'd say that affected me that much, because I'm not a massive computer game fan. I just used to play whatever was
I was even surprised by because I remember having that conversation with you that you're not really a gamer. Or
I'm not, but I did, you know, those old games, I mean, were just... I mean, how could you not be... like completely attracted to him when you were a kid?
Yeah.
Like Games Master was one of the best shows ever. But the other game that really, really, really got into my psyche, and it probably actually affected the grade I got in my degree at university. That's how bad it was Worms.
Yeah, oh, what a game. That or Lemmings as well. Lemmings was...
I saw Lemmings as a poor man's Worms. To be honest with you.
Even though they cost exactly the same.
No, but it was like okay. But it wasn't a patch on Worms.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Worms was an amazing game. Like, at university, we were obviously living in complete fucking squalor. You know what I mean? Living in Stockton-on-Tees. There's a few videos about it on YouTube. Wasn't the nicest place to live. No offence to Stockton-on-Tees. I had a great time there, but I felt in danger all the time as soon as you stepped out your front door. But we were living in squalor. We were students. But we still managed to get 2 TVs in the front room. We had a TV and another TV on top of the TV. So I was living with my girlfriend and 4 other dudes. And so they could watch like TV, but we could always have Worms on the top TV. And I love that game
it's a great game.
much.
It is a great game.
Now, I will say something that even though Mario Kart in every format kept it going and was very good, it was very good, they brought out Worms 2. Dreadful.
Yeah.
Not dreadful, but...
not the same.
Worms 1, you can't better that game.
Yeah, but in fairness, I think you can say that about most games. Like,
No, not Mario Kart. Mario Kart was
No, like,
Constantly good.
no, but Mario Kart was not bringing out like a part 2. They were just kind of upgrading.
Yeah, okay, maybe you're right.
Whereas like you had Mario 1, Mario 2, like Super Mario Brothers 1, 2, 3. I do like the second one a bit, but then it just got like when they went into the 3D stuff, and you're just fucking.
It didn't need it.
No,
it didn't need it. It didn't need it.
Sonic the Hedgehog was the same. The first one was amazing.
Playing a 2-player game of Worms against your mate from university, like I cannot honestly remember many happier times than that. Man, it was so good.
All those games, I saw.
Can you remember? I don't know if you remember. Obviously, you know Worms.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can remember how satisfying it was when you used a cluster bomb.
Yeah.
Wait, because cluster bombs were good, but when you managed to, you remember you had to hold the button down to get the power and then let it go. And if you just timed it so the cluster bomb would land like wedged between something. So normally a cluster bomb would go, you'd see the thing go doo, 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 and then it'll explode. But if you wedged it in something, it would be like you'd sellotaped a big lighter to a banger. You know what I mean? It would just destroy. And you didn't see the individual things. It just went boom.
Yeah.
The satisfaction of that, I'm not sure I've ever felt before. No. To be honest with you. Maybe I've lived a sheltered life, but the satisfaction of a wedged cluster bomb in Worms was something else. It was something else. So yeah, they were my 2 games. Worms and Mario Kart, definitely. We live in an age of celebrity. And many people are famous for really no good reason.
Yeah.
So my question is there a celebrity that you admire? Is there any celebrity you admire? It could be anyone. It could be entertainment,
sports,
political, sports. I don't mind. Just, is there a famous person that you feel like, yeah?
To be honest with you, this one was probably the hardest of the 3 to pick somebody. But so I'm going to give 2 honourable shout-outs to the 2 people that definitely... 3 people popped into my head. One was Tyson Fury. Obviously, from the shit he went through with, his depression, and fought through it and then became world champion again after doing it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Blind Boy from the Rubber Bandits is another one that I almost picked because I just think, again, it's about mental health and all that stuff. I think that's I
thought you might mention him because I know you like him.
I just think there's nobody talks about it the way he talks about it. He's trying to like make it normal, which mental health is just as important as physical health. So, and he's a smart guy and he's a very good artist, and I almost picked him.
Do you have any idea what that guy looks like?
No, but nobody does. He does it on purpose. He wears the bag on head because he knows that someday he doesn't want the fame per se. He wants to be an artist and just do his thing, and then just be able to function as a normal human being, which I have a lot of respect for.
Some people in his hometown must know who he is.
I'm sure everybody knows who he, like, I mean, I'm sure he's not turning up to RTE or national broadcaster
with the bag on his head.
So there are a huge number of people. But I know my dad did a volunteer thing in a church where they used to play gigs in, and he does turn up with it on his head, and he goes for pints with people afterwards, and he does wear it having pints.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, if that's what you're going to do, then you kind of need to go the whole hog, because someone's going to take a photo of you at some point.
But I could be wrong, but I do believe even with his podcast that he wears the hood on his head to get into character, because it is a character.
Yeah, of course. I understand that part, but I just wonder, like you said, if he turns up for a TV appearance, I wonder if he arrives in the cab with a bag on his head. I say he does.
But he also has done like production with the BBC and stuff. I'm sure he's not sitting in the office with a bag. And maybe he is. I don't know. But he's an honourable mention. But the one I'm going to pick is, I had to pick a guy that I basically growing up. He was one of my heroes, to be honest with you, and it's Roy Keane. Right, yeah. What I like about Roy, there is one other person I'll give a mention, but he fell out of favour with me for kind of a similar reason why I respect Roy Keane. Roy Keane came from a working class Mayfield background, played for Cove Ramblers, got bought into Nottingham Forest, then got sold to Man United. In my eyes, probably one of the best midfield players we ever seen to date, right? And even now that he's on the telly, like, it's rare you'll hear them talking shit about a manager he'll talk shit because he knows he tried management a few times and blah 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 and wasn't great at realizing, but he always kind of talks shit about the players because he knows as a player he gave it 120% and he was expecting everybody around him to give 120%. But I think that the way he held himself and the way he behaved throughout that period of fame is very admirable to me. And I'm going to kind of parallel him to another guy that I would have said would be a hero of mine, which is Conor McGregor, the MMA fighter. However, he had the same kind of a path where he came from a working class background and blah, 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 but then started believing his own hype and started acting like a fucking idiot and, you know, behaving like a fucking moron, basically. And, like, his achievements of what he did was fucking fantastic, but he fucking in my eyes, he pissed it all away by behaving like a moron. And what people would say is like, look, that's why you don't give money to a working class person because he doesn't know how to fucking behave. Whereas Roy Keane, of course, he had his moments, but it was always really on the pitch, right? You never really, of course, when he's like talking on TV and stuff, he says a couple of things that might seem harsh to people, but he's not being like offensive. He's just like saying his opinion, like he's shit.
I do always feel like he's always holding up people to his own standards, and there's nothing wrong with that.
But I don't think that. I think because there's a lot of pundits.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
There's a lot of pundits out there talking shit that never fucking played a fucking game of football in their life. At least this man was, during his period of being a player, one of the best players on the planet, right? During that time. So he, in my eyes, has earned the right to say, these guys nowadays are fucking, they don't give a shit about they don't give a shit about the team. They only care about their haircut or social media or whatever else. I think he's entitled to say that because he's proved that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So for me, Roy Keane, I think it's amazing when you see a guy that comes from, you know, nothing to being like one of the best midfield players on the fucking planet to now like he's a pundit, and I think he's trying to go into the management.
Did you feel any resentment to him when he walked out on Ireland in the World Cup?
I actually was fully behind him, to be honest with you, because I don't want to go into the argument side of it, but I also know I felt it was a kind of a mixed bag of feelings, but at the time I was behind him because I know, as being an Irish person, I do know that we have this attitude of fuck it, we're at the World Cup, that's good enough. And it's not good enough. You should, if you get to that stage, everything should be and the FAI, or whatever they are, the Irish Football Association should be making sure that the accommodation and the training pitches and everything is top of the range. And he felt it wasn't top of the range, and that we could have done better or should have done better. And that's basically, from my understanding, the argument he had with them was like going, what the fuck, why are we playing on a gravel pitch when we should be playing on a proper
what I
mean? Like,
I was just playing devil's advocate. I also kind of agreed with them as well.
Walking out, like,
they were being treated like dickheads, weren't they, basically?
Yeah, and like when he brought it up, I think the attitude was kind of, fuck it, we're here, at least we got this far. At that time, we should have been... We had the potential, maybe not to win it, but we had the potential to go to the quarterfinals or the semi-finals or whatever else. Like, we had great players that were most of them were playing in the Premiership, or, you know, and this attitude of, it's all right, we made it to the World Cup or whatever it was, I can understand from his point of view, when he's put his fucking body on his line for everything, that when they say, fuck it, don't worry about the training pitch, just we came here. That's not the attitude to have when you're at that level, like, you know.
Yeah, I think he got to the point where, especially the way they trained at Man United, it must have been a bit of a kick in the teeth to come to like your national team's training ground for a World Cup and be like, why isn't it at the same level that I'm playing at?
And all those players playing came from clubs like Man United, Liverpool, Manchester City, whatever. And they would have been used to this. Like, you're basically putting a pedigree horse onto a mud field, and to turn around and go, yeah, but like, whatever, we just got here, just enjoy it. That's a ridiculous way to look at it. These guys are highly competitive, you know, men that are putting...
Well, it's embarrassing, isn't it?
It is an embarrassment. And like, to be honest with you, like, I can see both sides of the argument, but we also have to... That's what kind of annoys me about Irish football. It was like we had this attitude, a draw is all right, that's good. We're only a small nation. That's all we can expect. But these guys were shooting for higher, and that's the way every country should be going into a World Cup, with that mentality of we need the best training ground. Why should England be getting a fancier ground than us? And it'd be different if they were like saying, no, that's for them. But it was a choice made by our football association to just go, fuck it, whatever. We're just here, just leave him play out in the car park or whatever else. And that's what from my understanding, that's what he was angry about. And then he had a falling out with the manager. And the fact that he left kind of it basically ruined that World Cup for me, because that was a couple of World Cups before we were in it and blah, blah, blah. I think that's basically the last World Cup we've been in. I think it is. I think it was. And it ruined the World Cup because obviously he was my hero and he was gone. But I was like, I was behind him anyway, to answer your question. I just think knowing from where he came from and all that, and how he's like, even today, I love watching him having an argument with Gary Neville or what's the Liverpool lad?
Jamie Carragher.
I love them having a conversation because they respect each other. And you can see sometimes they kind of throw their eyes up Rise going on a rant, but they don't turn around and go, you have no right to say that because you were shit or whatever. They know that
they each know the other one knows exactly what
exactly,
it takes
and they respect each other. And he's never behaved. I'm sure he said a couple of things that piss people off, but he's never behaved in a way, you know, that would justify somebody going, look, that's a reason why you shouldn't give fucking working class people money or whatever else. He's held himself fairly well, you know, and he...
Yeah, well, I'm the same. I love to listen to Roy Keane speak. I mean, like, for everything you've said is good, but he's just fucking hilarious to listen to. He's just a breath of fresh air, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but he says it as it is, and I think that's... I think certain people can get away with that. If you've done nothing in your life and you're saying it the way it is, you're kind of going, but what qualifies you to say that? But he can say it because you can see he literally dragged Man United from like, I think he got in one of the Champions Leagues, he basically fucking put his body on the line, got a goal, and then got sent off. But he did it because he knew he had to do it. And then Man United ended up winning the Champions League in a final without him because he had got a red card or
I think
whatever.
He got a second yellow, which meant he couldn't play in the final or something.
But he knew, you know what I mean? He knew. He didn't take the selfish road and go, better tippy-toe around it or else I won't be able to play. He just went, fuck it, I'm going in.
Well, no, that was I think that was the amazing thing. It wasn't that. He knew he couldn't play. But
that's what it was. He had got the yellow card knowing he couldn't
halfway
play.
Through the match, he was like, yeah, I know I'm not going to be in the final.
He could have got all pissy about it and went, fuck it, it's nothing
have,
to do with me, like, you know, so... I like his attitude. I think if you're going to do anything in life, you should give it 100%, or else don't bother, in my eyes, like. And I think he's the epitome of, I'm going to give something 100%.
I think that's why he's got so many fans, because, yeah, he. I feel like Roy Keane's the kind of person. There's a couple of people that I've met in my life, and if you get a compliment off them, it means way more than a compliment off somebody else.
Superb, like.
Like, imagine if Roy Keane said to you, "You did all right there, mate." That would be like 1,000 times of someone saying, "Oh, great job."
But to be honest with you, even when I hear Roy Keane talking about, you know, the latest batch of Man United players saying, even if he says they're all right, I'm going, they must be pretty good. Because you know, when he says they're all right, means they're fucking probably everybody's standard of 100%, but they're not quite that 110%.
Yeah, like, he'll say something like, "Oh, he's a good player." If you hear that, "Oh, he's a good player,"
and we have to, like, even though if you hate Man United or you hate Roy Keane or whatever, 90% of the time when he's saying something, if you dig deep enough, he's right as well. Like, he is saying, like, why this player thinks he's bigger than the club and blah, blah. I know he fell out with Alex Ferguson in the end, and it did go to that. But it ended there, right? So he thought he got bigger than the club. Alex Ferguson didn't agree with it, and he ended up getting fired or whatever you want to say. So in a way, he's proven.
I think that the attitude that got him fired from the club, in some ways, is basically the reason why Alex Ferguson bought him and played him so many times. I mean, I think he had the kind of attitude where only the best is good enough, and if it isn't, I'm going to go fucking mental. And Alex Ferguson probably like that until he was always the boss, when he was always the boss. Yeah.
And to be honest with you, I only started supporting United because of Roy Keane. And obviously at the time they had a great team as well. Like, you had Eric Cantona and Beckham and Scholes and Giggs and all these guys. But Roy Keane could have played for fucking Sunderland, and I would have fucking went, I'm following Sunderland, just because I was behind the lad that came from the same school as I went to.
Did you follow Sunderland when he was the manager of Sunderland? Because he was.
Because to be honest with you, when Roy Keane left United, my interest in soccer or football just went away. It just, I was basically engaged in football because of Roy Keane. Yeah. And then I no disrespect to football or whatever, but he just drew me to it, just like Conor McGregor drew me to MMA. Now that he's turned into a fucking bit of a mad lad, I don't really have that much interest in that sport anymore. It's like, So that was my lad anyway.
I don't think I've got one, mate. To be honest with you,
that's fine.
I quite enjoy. Yours was a good choice because I think I need to think about this a little bit more. But I'm just going to say no. I haven't got one. I haven't got one.
That's fine.
To be honest, one thing I'd say that there's a lot of comics I admire.
Yeah.
I do like stand-up comedians. I would say Bill Hicks would be somebody that I do really admire, even though he's been dead for a long time.
I was just going to say, he's dead, isn't he?
Yeah. But
that's fine though.
But again, I think what you were saying about Roy Keane is you love the way he came. I mean, he's from where you're from, which makes him quite special to you, I think. But he went from there somewhere
in and out, like
in and out, like the back of your hand, and he made it to literally the top of world football. You know what I mean? Which is an amazing thing.
And it's still relevant today. Even he's a pundit, or I think he's going for a manager job sooner. I've gone out of that world, so forgive me for not knowing. But like, people who are into football today still know Roy Keane, even though he hasn't played a fucking game since.
Well, I think that was like I said, I won't go too much into it, but I really do admire Bill Hicks because I do love stand-up comedy, even though it's most of them I think are terrible. But when it's good, it's really, really good. But I love the way that guy was, like, I've seen videos of him doing stand-up when he was like 16. And he's just already so good. And it not just that he's funny and topical and also scares you sometimes. Sometimes he'll do shows where everything's in the past tense now because he passed away. But like, sometimes you would just go, fuck making these people laugh. Like, I'm just going to fucking scare them. And I just think, I always thought that was amazing at his age to be able to do that.
Well, stand-up comedians are just like artists, right? And I think the best stand-up comedians are the ones that do it for themselves, and they're doing it, like, not to please people. Well, obviously that's their gig, but
well, they
say what they want to really genuinely say,
hope that people latch onto it.
Exactly, and
the other thing, and
those are the most natural ones. Like, if you look at any of the ones like Richard Pryor, even Bill Burr today, they say shit that isn't. It mightn't be popular with what people are going through at that time, but they're making sense to a certain bunch of people, but they're doing. You can clearly see they're doing it for themselves.
I think that's what I admire about a good stand-up comedian is they will go out and say something and they have no idea what the reaction is going to be. Like, you could have 2,000 people booing you, but they just go, "Fuck it, I'm just going to say it." Anyway. And that's I quite admire that bravery, man. That's brave as fuck. Because I'm not that brave. Nowhere near that fucking brave.
I couldn't get up and do a stand-up.
Nowhere near that brave. If I was standing up in front of 2,000 people, let's say I was an acknowledged performer of some kind. If I stood up amongst 2,000 people or 10,000 people, I reckon I'd probably take the easy route and go, I'm just going to do what they already know, and I know they like it, so it goes well.
Yeah.
But to have the bravery to go, you know what, I'm just going to stand up and I'm going to say something which is probably going to alienate 90% of you. That's an amazing thing to be able to do.
It is indeed.
Yeah, but that's a brave thing. And there's lots of comedians that do that. But Bill Hicks in particular was someone who did that all the time. So, yeah, so that'd be it.
Cool.
All right. Q&A done. It's quite long, wasn't it?
It was a long one, yeah.
It was a good one, though.
It's a good one. Good one.
Yeah, I liked it.
I love it.
All right. I'm feeling movie quotes.
Movie quotes.
I'm ready to go.
So the score.
I'm relaxed. I'm lubricated. I mean, alcoholically, not.
Not sexually.
But I'm just feeling like I'm going to get 6 out of 6 tonight. That's what I feel.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I feel.
So basically the score is 8-4. I can't remember what we said we were going to go for, but that's irrelevant.
I think we go to 12.
Yeah, I was going to say like Slang Wars was up to 15, so we might as well keep it.
All right,
around
15.
15 it is.
15.
We said we'd see play it by ear, but there hasn't been that many. So I'll go for the first one. Now, before I go ahead, I've got big into looking at scripts now since we started doing this movie quote thing. So I'm kind of being a bit fancy now. I know how to read a script. And this is actually a voiceover part of a movie.
You got a bit saucy on me.
I'm getting a bit saucy, but it's a very important part of the movie anyway. So it's kind of the first time you're introduced to the character. So
I'm definitely going to nail it.
I think you might. But there are names mentioned in it. So I'm gonna replace
Omit the names.
I'm gonna replace the name by blank 1 and blank 2.
Right.
Just to because I think I don't, to be honest with you,
No,
earlier today I was a bit
fair.
cocky going, I'm going to fucking mention the name. But I'm not going to mention the name because you are way more of a movie buff than me. So, this is the first quote.
I'm just looking at you in your headphones. It looks so serious.
I'm very serious. This is very serious to me. So, here we go. You'll notice that my friends and I all look and behave in remarkably similar fashion. But there's subtle differences between us. Blank 1 is the biggest asshole. Blank 2 is a yes man. Blank 3 is the most weird. I'm the best looking. We all have light tans. Right now I'm in a bad mood because this is not a good table. And blank 1 keeps asking dumb, obvious questions about how to dress.
American Psycho.
Oh!
I knew it after like the 7th word.
Did you?
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
I thought that was...
I was just waiting for you to finish.
Shit. I thought it was being a right clever clogs there.
That's 2 points, man.
2 points.
Man, I fucking love that movie so much. Have you read the book?
No,
It's sick as fuck. The book is ridiculous.
Did you know? Did you want
Yeah.
nothing of what I like? Leaving out the names made no difference.
I didn't even listen after like the 7th word.
Oh fucking hell! I specifically picked it thinking that you wouldn't get it, but anyway, here we
Great
go.
movie. It's a great movie and a fucking absolutely ridiculous book. I don't know how to explain the book. I don't know if I'd say it was good. It is good, but I think good is not the right word to describe it. It's insane. You know. That's 2 points, isn't it?
That is 2 points.
I told you I was feeling it tonight, mate.
Okay, here we
I'm
go.
full of it tonight. I'm feeling it.
You're fucking on fire. I'm surprised. Yeah, I'll be honest, I kind of thought you'd get it, but that's why I omitted the names, because I was like thinking, fucking hell, if I give him the names, if he's a big fan of the movie, he's
Could
going
I name the names? That's the thing. I probably could have given me a little bit of time.
I think you would. Okay, so the second one is, look, my birthday is November the 3rd. I broke my arm when I was 9. Here, I'm allergic to flowers.
Can you say it one more time?
Okay, and I'll also add the bit in brackets. So, because I'm taking these from actual scripts. Look, my birthday is November the 3rd. I broke my arm when I was 9. Spots of vase on the counter. Here, I'm allergic to flowers.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I like how you tried to say 3rd instead of turd the second time round. Thanks for that. I appreciate that.
Racism there. Bit of racism.
Look, My birthday's November the 3rd. I broke my arm when I was 9. I don't think I'm going to get this one. I'm not going to lie to you.
You can have a pop, and then I'll have to give you an actor or actress.
It sounds like something like. Is it a voiceover as well?
No, it's direct dialogue.
Look, my birthday's November 3rd. Oh, right, okay. So it's some bird trying to get some information out of him, and he's like, oh, for fuck's sake.
It's
look.
somebody trying to get some information.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'll just tell you this shit. Is it Fight Club?
No, not a bad guess, but similar kind of So I'm going to have to give you an actor or actress. Elizabeth Perkins.
Oh, then it's Big.
Yeah. Too easy.
Yeah.
That's basically what he says to his mum when he
Oh,
comes
when
down
he's
in the
trying
morning,
to
he's like,
persuade him to.
I brought
Persuade
me
him that he's.
yeah. So one.
I'm still
3
quite.
points.
I'm still quite impressed that I knew.
It's fucking amazing.
That I knew that bird was.
Yeah.
I knew the bird was Elizabeth Perkins.
All right. So here's the third one. I'm fucking really disappointed that he already got 3 points out of this. So here we go. Reaction time is a factor in this. So please pay attention. Answer as quickly as you can.
I think I know this one, but let me just think.
Reaction time is a factor in this, so please pay attention. Answer as quickly as you can.
I had something in my head, but I don't think it's that. Reaction time is a factor in this, so please pay attention. Answer as quickly as you can. Oh, it's a psychologist talking, isn't it? Kind of.
Kind of. Not really, but kind of.
Reaction time is a factor in this, so pay attention and please answer as quickly as you can. I know it's not this, but my first thought was Men in Black, but it's not that.
No. So,
Can I have an actor?
Yeah, of course.
No, let me think. No, I don't know.
Sean Young is in the movie. That was the rule, right? It was just an actor in the movie. It doesn't have to be.
I can only think of one movie that Sean Young's in that I can think of.
She's not related to that scene. I will just say that.
Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Oh. Blade Runner, mate.
Yeah, I haven't seen Blade Runner that often. Sean Young's in Ace Ventura too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Amazing.
Ah!
Fucking thank God. So it's 7.
I only said that because that's the only film I can think of with Sean Young in.
Yeah,
That's
to
it.
be honest, I being a bit.
I honestly, I haven't.
I've only
I
seen.
don't think I've even seen Blade Runner all the way through.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought you
honestly.
were a massive Blade Runner fan. Though.
No.
Okay.
I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
That's why I picked it, because I thought I'd picked this random start of the movie scene.
No,
I'm the same.
I was never a massive sci-fi fan, really.
Yeah. Well, I think it was a.
Ace Ventura, Detective.
But to be honest with you, if you said Sean, I know who Sean Young is, but I wouldn't have even been able to pick Ace Ventura. I know she's been in a good few movies.
She's the bird who's actually a bloke in Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Seemingly so. So yeah, 7-8, mate. That's a fucking.
I'm not actually that. I'm not that annoyed about that. What was the second movie? Big.
Yeah.
I'm not that annoyed about Blade Runner because I wouldn't know a quote.
Amazingly, just to give context, I've spoken about 2 of the. I didn't.
Yeah, you
I spoke
have.
about most of the movies tonight before we went on air.
That's true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
To kind of. But I didn't.
But in myself, I'm not that annoyed about not getting a Blade Runner quote because
I don't know why I had it in my head that
I
you
wouldn't
were,
be able to get a Blade Runner quote.
Okay.
I'm a bit annoyed. I'm a little bit annoyed about the big one. But
I'm fucking shocked that you pulled 3 points out of that, to be honest. The first one I didn't, with American Psycho, I thought you would have had to go to the actor, and I had just a total random actor picked out.
you would have said Jared Leto.
Josh Lucas.
I wouldn't have had a fucking clue who that dude was.
No, sorry, I apologise. I was going to say Reese Witherspoon, because that would have well thrown you off.
Yeah, that's true. That would have thrown me off. Yeah.
That I was going to say Reese Witherspoon.
Nah, to be honest, it was yeah, like I said, I've seen that movie many times and read the book, but the fact you were talking about this table's not very good, I would have known.
Yeah,
even the last line, I would have known. If I didn't know it before the 7th word, which I did, that would have thrown it.
Yeah, it was amazing. So because what we're going through with in the world today, we've decided not to do a news story because I think it would be a little bit I can't even say it.
It would have been insensitive
of us to talk about a stray cat in fucking Hangzhou when the shit that's going on and the people are getting killed and stuff, and we don't want to go down that road of getting involved with that conversation. We've decided not to do a news story today.
I think the trivialities of what's happening with food delivery services kind of pale in comparison to what's going on the global stage.
Or like some lad didn't get his fucking, whatever. Our news stories are normally kind of fluffy and out of respect for people dying and...
What's the opposite of sensitive, mate?
Insensitive.
Oh, you got it.
But I was just on the spot. I didn't know what. I think that's reasonable. And also Q&A went on for like an hour and a half. So, but in general, like, who the fuck cares about what we're going to say? So
there's much more important things going on in the world. So there's a lot of people who read the news. They don't need to know our.
So the solidarity for everybody in the world that's getting killed or find themselves at borders, getting kicked out of countries and stuff. We decided today is not the day to do a fluffy story. So
that's it. Done.
That's it. Episode 24.
Yeah.
It was amazing to get back in the hot seat.
Yeah.
With my good mate Finn.
And it's also great because Jason's got a massive pair of headphones on. He looks amazing. They suit you, mate.
Finn never sounded so better.
They suit you. Yeah. So anyway, so we'll see you next time. It's been good. Next time I'll do movie quotes.
I know, I think next time it's going to be an interview, right? So we're going to interview somebody soon.
Okay, yeah. You said there's 6 or 7 people. I don't think there is.
There definitely is.
I think there's 3
I'm not going to
people.
name them, no, because that will give it away.
All right. Anyway, we're going to... hopefully we'll have someone else on next week.
We 100% will. Well, because I'm sick of...
Me.
No, I'm not. I'm sick of people going, when am I coming on? When am I coming on? And I'm just... We're using every excuse under the book not to do it. So procrastination, another topic that we need to discuss someday. Why do we procrastinate? But anyway...
All right, mate. It's been a pleasure, as always.
Absolutely fantastic.
Take care, everyone. See you later.
Bye-bye.